Even I think I have something on Musali Abdavadi, I have something on Anway Guru on the channel. I have something on ICC, something on Kalonzo, you know, when he lost the chance. So then the last one, I think there was one on Faith. Faith, you are very right. Watch this space. I don't know about the rest of government, but there will be a lot of transparency and accountability in the defense headquarters. Watch the July, August recruitment. The right people who will run and who are physically fit to join the defense forces will be selected, not those who their parents can pay to join. You know that story. Yeah, that one. Then our troops in Somalia, we are leaving Somalia. There's a drawdown. Our first 400 from Somalia, 400 from Kenya, 400 from Ethiopia, 400 from Uganda, 400 from Burundi, 150 from Djibouti. It's called the drawdown. We are leaving. But we are not leaving Somalia at the mercy of Al-Shabaab. We leave Somalia when Al-Shabaab footprints are not there. Because the moment we leave and they take over that country, we will be worse than now. So that's why you see our international friends, Somali National Forces, the European Union, who are big funders of the ATMIS, ourselves, we must secure our neighbor, our country. We have a moral duty in Somalia. The way we are going to we have a moral duty in Sudan, what's happening in Sudan. We can't watch civilians die. Any responsible government or country cannot do that. So it is not that easy. Why can't you get out of Somalia? We didn't go to Somalia. We didn't go for a birthday party. No, the Kenyan forces did not go to Somalia to play football. They went there. And if you now look at our border from the coast to the far end, the number of troops we have, forget about those who are inside, protecting our country. That's why you see in the last few years, they are not inside. And I want to assure this on behalf of the rest of Kenyans that myself, Professor Kindiki, and all the others in charge of the security sector, we will do whatever it takes to protect our country, to protect our citizens, and to protect even the foreigners who live in our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we have this guy has been raising his hand for all this while, and then we'll cross to the floor. We'll get there.
When I start, I don't know. When I was here, mine will be very fast. I'm Thomas Kupeka from Alliance Forces, where you're sitting. First, I would like to thank also your moderator, quite resourceful. I'm interested more in the translation of your book, simply because Kenya is a player in the region. When are we going to have this book in French? If you are ready, you just need to call me and then we'll see what
Thank you. First, let me take pride in His Excellency as a Galician. And I think all his political career was inspired by what he said initially, that to legitimize this community, and I think he meant the Somali community precisely. I'm really proud of him. And I bought my copy, so I think I have the right to ask you this question.
Yes.
So my question is, now that you have reached probably you're almost at the top of your career. You've been the majority leader. You are now the Minister of Defense. What next? Are you hoping to be the president of this country?
Thank you. Thank you. So we need to hear a lady. Okay, give the guy next. Very briefly. And
good evening. My name is Sulaiman. I have read the book, all the 22 chapters, including the epilogue. There is one chapter that has attracted my attention, and that is the ICC chapter. Within you have extensively talked about the people behind the ICC case, and then the circumstances that led to the renewal of the UK and Kenya military training, where you are even being threatened by the ambassador, and contrary, you are told you are going to face challenges with my government. So I would like you to expound on the level of interferences by the foreign countries
let's have the very last one, and then Waziri can respond. So we can have the gentleman, and then I'll allow the lady.
Okay, thank you, Asiri. My name is Ignatius. 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 My question is on recruitment and policy in employment into the KDF. And in Kenya, we have a problem of unemployment. And we have a policy whereby to join KDF, you must have have reached this height. You are physically and medically fit, but then height limits you. Because if we look everywhere, or rather elsewhere, we can have a doctor who is only 5 feet. A very good doctor, a very good teacher, a very good professor, a very good parliamentarian, or even
ask the question,
so,
ask the question.
Waziri, it's a high time to influence and a change of policy so that we can have
What's your
equality.
question?
Thank you.
Okay, it's a comment.
Right.
Okay, last one. Yeah. Okay, there's a lady.
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, thank you very much, Waziri, for coming and giving us this session, and the moderator. Yes, I've seen several times the ladies been asked to speak out and all that. It's not that we're shy or we're afraid to speak up. We're always willing. And I've not yet read your book, but we have been following your career in the media as you've been very captivatingly at the national level. And we want to thank you on behalf of the small community for all the progress and all the groundbreaking work you've done. And now I want to ask you a question in mind of your new job as the new Minister of Defense. Do you think that Kenya will be maybe spearheading common African Union armed forces to deal more effectively with this new outbursts of violence in different countries? And yes, and also another question I'm very interested is in what's your next step so that now that I think someone asked of you earlier, are you going to stop here or are you going to keep breaking ground and show us maybe as a president at some point? Thank you so much.
Okay, let me start with Thomas. Thomas, thank you very much. You are the best guy. We will talk. I need to translate this book into French, into Arabic, into Somali. It means more audience and more resources for me. And Swahili, a good guy from Galicia. And the last question of my sister. What next? I think Allah knows what is next first. It's not me to decide. Yeah, you know? I told you I have a good feeling. So even I don't know whether I'll finish this term. But I said it many years, and I'll still repeat. I want to retire with this president. I always joke with him and I tell him, make sure you take care of your farm, I take care of my camels, so that we retire, and become elders. And we read books as professor and allow young other Kenyans, even from my community, to take a place. We don't want to stay in leadership until you are chased. No. I think it's good to give people a chance. We want to mentor leaders. Right now, we have got young governors, young members of parliament, young senators, young good women leaders. Our role now will be to mentor others. It's good to be judged that you also made others take the place. Suleiman, you need to read my ICC. But I would say my chapter on ICC can be described that yes, there was a post-election violence, and I was there. It was people say it was planned, but it was simultaneous. It happened because the elections were disputed. There was anger. Many Kenyans lost their lives, but it was something that I went to The Hague 26 times myself. It was more of an international conspiracy with local people here to use the ICC to fix the 2013 general election. That was how it was. There are many people involved. The British were involved. Many people when Johnny Castle was the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, when he couldn't stop it, and our constitution was very good. Our constitution says William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta will vie in 2013. He was a bitter man, and he said, at his level in the State Department, he said, choices have consequences. You remember? You know, he was in fact denting the constitutional right of citizens to elect their leaders. So I think if you read that chapter, you will understand. Many of my colleagues in the international community have read it and they're very happy because they got the whole perspective what happened. Then there is the short people in KDF. There are short people, by the way. There are short people in KDF. But you know, if you could have, I went to NYS before I joined university. If you could have gone to NYS, you could have not asked me this question. Because in the military, there are people called the marks at the end. The colonel knows. The short people have, but you cannot compare people who join the military to doctors, my friend. What's wrong with it? I mean, it's a world of difference. You can't say because doctors, nurses, engineers, lawyers can be. No. Even the people we send to deep operations, you have to look at. There are guys who are called special forces, so, but short people, but not too short. No, no, no. But we have doctors in the military. You have everybody. You have architects, you have lawyers, you have doctors, you have nurses, you have all types of profession. If I become sick, I don't go these days to Nairobi Hospital. I go to First Memorial because the best surgeons, the best doctors, physicians are there. But you can't compare. Please don't compare doctors and the guys who go.
And maybe we should add Waziri has the right height for the military. So my last question.
I think there was a good question by the lady about AU Force. No, what has happened, and if you check my Twitter today, I am now the current chairman of the Defense Council of Ministers of 10 countries of a bloc called the Eastern Africa Standby Force. So Africa is divided into 5 regions by AU. It's a standby force for Eastern region, you know, with 10 countries from Burundi to Comoro to Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, name it, Burundi. Then you go to South, they call the SADC, they have their own standby force. You go to the North, the Maghreb, they have their own standby force. Then you go to West Africa, the ECOWAS, and then I think it's one for Central part of Africa. Because that's how the African Union has created those standby forces in the event of a crisis anywhere, of course, with our partners and allies, the French, the European Union, the Americans, and many, many others. So these are there.
I'm going to let you make the final pitch why our audience and the rest of the world should read your book.
Book lovers will always read books, but they read very interesting books. My book, if you start with the forward of the president, you will not keep it. You'll forget your coffee. A friend called me and told me, today I had to look for a driver. And I was driving to Namanga. He said, I wanted to read the book, so you have to look for a driver. And many feedback I got from key people is that you start, you want to finish. Secondly, and I think most important is, I have set the bench for Kenyan politicians to be very candid. You know, when I wrote this book, even my editorial team asked me, this book is very controversial. And I was telling them, I've led a very controversial life. I mean, I am sure you watched it on Parliament. My life was about controversy. So this is a very nice book. But one diplomat of a very important country called me yesterday and told me, I finished your book and it has given me a very clear new perspectives about Kenyan politics.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so for those who want to join politics, for political science students, as Professor said, you must read my book. And let me finally say, when I launched my book, the day of the launch, I was very happy. At least my counterpart in the US, the Secretary for Defense, bought. Uh, 2 copies were bought for the US Congress Library, 2 copies for White House. So far, I have sold I've sent a copy to Mama Samia Suluhu. The Prime Minister of Ethiopia has bought this book. The President of Eritrea has bought this book. And last week, I delivered one to President Museveni and President Kagame. So they are also telling me we need this book. Today I got a very big query in the last 3 days from Kenyans and people in the US. So I'm shipping 500 copies to different cities in the US for people to read. So please read my book.
Well,
I'm now, let me do the marketing. Now let me now do it.
Sure.
I'm humbly requesting you. Please, I'll sign for you. I'll even stay for another 2 hours. Signing for you.
Wonderful.
Buy my book.
Wonderful. And I can add my voice and say, I have read the book. I have read between the lines, as you can see from my line of inquiry. I have enjoyed it immensely, and now he's set a challenge for himself to write more compelling stories in future. So join me in thanking sincerely our guest tonight. And not just for recording his story or the journey of his life, but for opening his life for us to scrutinize him, to audit him, and there are very few of us who can dare do that in his lifetime. So wonderful, congratulations. I think Professor Bakari has something to do.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the wife of Professor Mohamed Bakari. Since the day he was given the book, he has spent all night reading the book. All night long.
Wow, excellent. So I think our
All his essays.
wow.
He's one of our most respectable, renowned, celebrated professor. And if you don't know Professor Bakari, then you better look for his books, which I have them here.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. I think I'll turn to Hansita for direction. One moment. And thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Honorable Duale. Thank you, Peter Kimani. That was a very enjoyable conversation around the book. I think the CS will now come out to sign a few books. So anyone buying books, please can you wait outside the auditorium? And everyone else, you're all welcome to the terrace for refreshments and continue the conversation around the book. Thank you very much.